Now let's look at the steep turn maneuver and how to perform it. Before starting any turn, check for other aircraft. This is especially true for steep turns since the rate of turn is high. Steep turns, more than any maneuver you've done so far, call for orientation, power control, and rapid application of smooth and varying control pressures. Steep turns should be flown no less than 1,500 feet above the surface. Because of the increased load factor, the airspeed should be reduced to or below maneuvering speed. The increased angle of attack needed to offset the lift used as horizontal component will call for a pitch attitude somewhat higher than that for a medium bank turn. To maintain altitude, you must use more power to compensate for the added drag. While steep turns can be made for any number of degrees, the practical test standards call for a 360-degree turn. To help keep you oriented, start the turn on one of the cardinal points of the compass: north, east, south, or west. Pick something prominent, like a road or other landmark, parallel to the heading of the airplane to help you judge the completion of the turn. The bank should be 45 degrees, and the altitude must be maintained within 100 feet. Entering the turn is like entering any turn, with the difference that the controls are deflected for a longer time to reach the steeper bank. As the bank angle goes past 30 degrees, power should be increased as necessary, and you'll probably find that the back elevator pressure needed is greater than you expect. The bank of 45 degrees and final power setting should be reached after completing 25 to 35 degrees of turn. Because 45 degrees is not marked on the bank scale, you must position the bank pointer halfway between the 30 and 60 degree marks. A more precise method is to align the wings of the miniature airplane with the bottom ground perspective line, like so. Don't stare at any one thing. Cross-check the attitude indicator with the nose, wings, horizon, altimeter, and reference point as you turn. The altimeter must be monitored to be sure you are staying within 100 feet. If you are losing altitude, don't try to correct with just back pressure. Doing so will only tighten the turn. To get back to the altitude, first shallow the bank by 5 or 10 degrees, then increase the pitch attitude. Return to the 45-degree bank after the airplane is back to the starting altitude. If the airplane is climbing, you can make a slight increase in the bank or a small decrease in back pressure. In a 45-degree bank, the airplane is at the threshold of overbanking, and you may need to hold some aileron pressure against the turn to keep the bank from increasing. With climb power and airspeed lower than cruise, torque will be greater than the corrections which offset the forces that turn the airplane to the left. You will probably need a slight amount of right rudder pressure during a steep turn. It's important to stay oriented with the reference point, as the rate of turn is high and thus heading change is fairly rapid. At typical training airplane speeds of 90 to 120 knots, the rate of turn varies between 12 and 9 degrees per second respectively. When the airplane heading is within 25 to 35 degrees of the reference, apply opposite aileron and rudder pressure to roll out of the turn. As the bank decreases, the back elevator pressure must be relaxed and power returned to the level flight power setting.